And welcome back to the Crypto Talk program. Today we're going over repos, how the banking system covers money for from one overnight, maybe a few days. I'm going to show you what the banks and financial institutions are doing with what they call the repo market. We're not going to really dive into this too deeply. I'm going to give you an explanation of this company. It's called Federated Hermes, not herpes that you might have, but Hermes. And we're going to look into what are they doing, why is this a big deal, and what cryptos are involved possibly in this, and ultimately, how can I make money on this information from today's show? We will be going into this. I don't usually get into the fintech nuts and bolts. But what's happening is I'm going to try to break this down so we kind of have an idea what's going on. What we're seeing right now is the financial system starting to adopt crypto technology. That's why I'm talking about this, because I'm invested in crypto. I want to know what cryptos are a part of the financial system. What's the financial system? What's the traditional financial system doing with cryptocurrency? Because for the longest time, we've been led to believe, oh, crypto's bad. It's for drug dealers and all these things. No, the lie that you've been hearing all these years was until these banks catch up and control crypto, then it becomes good. Right now, there's not too many crypto channels breaking down how a financial system works. What are the banks doing traditionally? And how are these banks going to change? What is going to change from the traditional financial system until now? How do we incorporate crypto it's how we get rich. When these traditional financial institutions incorporate blockchain and crypto, that's how we get rich. So what we don't want to do is just buy some crypto and then when it goes up, sell. That's like the dumbest fucking shit. But that's what we're going to get into today is understanding. This is what we do on Crypto Hulk Show. We want to understand just enough to make sense of the financial dealings of countries and companies. We want to understand just enough. I'm not here to give an economics lecture on the repo agreement market. I'm not here to do all that shit. I don't need to know all that. What I need to know is basically what's going on and what cryptos are going to be used from that and how will that affect the future. We're not going to dive heavily into this. I don't have an economics degree. My name is Crypto Hulk. I'm not a financial advisor, not a crypto advisor, none of the above. I don't know anything about crypto. I don't know anything about finances. I don't know anything about banks. What I do know is hardcore street drug use. Me and Chucky just got done with some blow. We just had about 5 pounds of blow we just went through right now, and it was glorious. We had LSD, acid, cocaine, heroin, all the stuff. It was great. So for the past, actually out of 6 years of doing this show, 5 of those 6 years, I've been out of the last 5 years, I've been out of 5,000 drug rehab treatment centers. I usually go through about 3 drug rehabs a day. Yep, those are pretty mean numbers. Don't do the math because it won't work out. Just trust me. I think that'll be it for the disclaimer. And let us get into this. Let me find the article about Hermes. Hermes. Federated Hermes. Hermes. Now let me do a copy paste. I'm going to show you the article. I'm going to show you the articulo. Then I'm going to break away from that. There's the article there. Now I'm going to break away. I'm going to give you my grok for this so you can follow along. Now, somebody stop me. Somebody look at that Grok link. And then somebody let me know, good Grok link, bad Grok link, okay? Chris Sharpie says he's a full-blown addict as well. Oh, what a shame. He went on a heavy rise and Algorand bender last night. Plume and Edel, that's the good link. Okay, now you can see what I'm seeing. So let's go over this. There's a nice little picture here. Federated Hermes. It's a major global asset manager. One of the largest, we're discussing one of the largest United States money market fund providers. It explains repo activities through educational materials like demystifying purchase agreements. These show how its government money market funds invest in high-quality, short-term instruments. So there's these things called money market funds, and they invest in repo agreements. What a repo agreement is, it's a short, really boring stuff. I'm going to explain this real quick, but we want to understand, my goal at Crypto Hulk show is to educate us, to help us to become a little more financial literate and understand some of what's going on in the investment world. I'm not an investment person. I'm not a financial advisor. But I just want to understand a little tiny bit. So a repo agreement is a short-term borrowing for dealers in government securities. Okay. A repo agreement is a short-term collateralized loan. One party, it's usually like a bank. So imagine like you have a bank and they sell some securities. Now, usually it's U.S. Treasuries to a cash-rich investor, such as a money market fund. So Bank of America has U.S. Treasuries. Okay, they own U.S. Treasuries, let's say. And they find a money market fund and say, hey, how'd you like to buy these treasuries off us for 24 hours or maybe 3 days or so? It's usually a typical amount. So B of A wants to raise some cash short term. So they sell their treasury to this company who gives them cash, but then they have a repurchase agreement to buy it back. Okay. So B of A sells some of their treasuries to a money market fund like Federated Hermes. What let's call it? You know what? Fuck it. We'll call it Federated Herpes. Okay. So, because I know it's all y'all just want to hear that. So Federated Herpes needs to buy some treasuries from Bank of America because they want to diversify their monies or whatever. So they go to B of A and say, hey, we'll give you $50 million for a certain amount of treasuries. And then B of A says, okay, so B of A takes the cash and Federated Herpes takes the securities called United States Treasuries. So now we just had a security exchange occur, okay? Temporary securities exchange happens all the time with these banks and money market funds, okay? Okay. So now that happens, Federated Herpes buys these funds for cash and simultaneously agrees to repurchase the same securities later, often overnight, a few days at a slightly higher price. The price difference is the repo rate. It's the interest earned by the cash provider. It is an economically secured loan with the securities serving as collateral. It's called repo banking. Refers to this mechanism functioning as core short-term secure funding and liquidity management. across the financial system. Banks and dealers use this repo lending to finance securities inventories cheaply and reliably, while conservative cash investors like a money market fund use it as a safe. It's a liquid alternative to an unsecured bank deposit or commercial paper, helping recycle liquidity in short-term fund markets without traditional unsecured credit risk. Federated Herpes is performing strongly in this space. Its large government money market funds are heavy, disciplined users of Treasury agent repo. They recently executed the first trade on the DTCC. Now we're starting to get into some crypto here. So they recently executed the first trade, the very first one, everybody. What we're looking at here is traditional finance, old school way of doing stuff, old school. This is the first time this has ever happened. We get a money market fund executed a trade on the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. This is massive right here. We are now seeing the traditional financial market move into cryptocurrency. We're just going to call it that. Blockchain. I'm calling it cryptocurrency because it's my show and I can call it whatever the fuck I want to call it. So this is the first trade on the DTCC's new, it's a new collateral in lieu, they call it, cleared repo service with BNY Mellon involved, Ripple partner, DTCC, Canton Network partner, heavy Canton Network partner, by the way, and the Canton coin comes right in there. The RRP facility and market functioning, while innovative products like the Digital Treasury Fund focus on overnight treasury. That's what I just wanted to relay to you is banks banks need to have, at the end of the day, or at least every 24-hour period, a bank has to have a certain amount of cash before they, like at the end of the day, banks have to show the Federal Reserve and the government they have $100 million in the bank, okay? Banks have to have money so they can do all their buying and selling and trading. And at the end of the day, like, oh, shit, we just bought. It's kind of like when you get paid and you go buy a bunch of crypto, right? And then you blow all your money from your paycheck. Let's say I'm Bank of America or something in this little, I'm trying to tell you a little story. So let's say I'm the bank. I get paid and I've got a fuck ton of crypto, okay? But I didn't realize in my bank account I only have $100 left. But I got like $3 million in crypto, right? So what I'm going to do is get a loan from somebody and say, hey, I got $3 million in crypto and I got $100 in the bank. Uh-oh, Crypto Hulk's in trouble. So I need to put money in the bank, but I don't want to necessarily sell off what I just bought because that's some good crypto that I just bought. So I'm going to make an agreement with Federated Herpes. Federated Herpes is going to give me cash, right? So I can put $5 million in my bank account. And then they're gonna promise like that crypto is gonna be theirs, and I'm gonna promise to buy it back tomorrow, but I'll give them like 2% interest or 1%. It's basically kind of what's going on. See, banks at the end of the day can't have $100 in their savings account like you and me. Now, banks have a lot of assets. Just because a bank spends all of its money on, let's say, just because I spend all the money on crypto doesn't mean I'm broke. It says I got all the money in an illiquid fashion. I can't take this stock and go buy a hamburger at McDonald's right now. So what I have to do is take some of my, let's say I'll take $100,000 worth of XRP and sell it temporarily, make a repo agreement with Federated Herpes, and they're going to give me, $100,000, and I got to buy it. I got to buy back my crypto that they're holding. Let's just say they're holding it now. I got to buy it back in like 2 days or whatever. So, because I have to show today I got money in the bank, because the government's going to audit me every day. And if I close up today, if I close up shop today and I'm a bank and I got $100 in my savings account, that's not going to work. I got to show I got $100 million in there. So, hey, Federated Herpes, sell me, I'll sell you some of my crypto, and I need some of your money just for like today. Usually it happens like overnight. They just got to show they got money in their account, and then they buy it back like the next morning. Okay? So, is everybody kind of getting that on what's going on here? It's just a very, is this herpes disease ISO compatible? So you guys understand it? Yes. Okay. So that's what Federated Herpes does. It gives banks money, usually overnight, maybe a couple days or something. Stephen Morris. I love Federated Herpes. I use that bank all the time. Oh, wow. That's, I was going to say, let's just say it's very interesting. Now, let's get into this article here, the articulo. Let me do a copy and a paste. So now I just explained basically what the repo market's like, and I use the example of Crypto Hulk and Federated Herpes. So now, students, let's go into Federated Hermes launches a digital treasury fund reserve shares. Okay, let's see what the hell this is. Federated Hermes has launched Federated Hermes Money Market Management Digital Treasury Fund Reserve Shares. Well, that's a big fucking name. According to the firm, the fund seeks to provide current income consistent with stability of principal by investing in a portfolio of U.S. dollar cash and U.S. Treasury investments that mature within 93 days. And so they're going to invest in these up to 93 days United States Treasury investments. And they're going to invest in overnight repo, fully collateralized U.S. Treasury securities. So a bank is going to has treasuries, so they got collateral. So they want to get a loan from Federated Hermes. Federated Hermes is going to give them a loan. Let's just call it a loan. But they're actually buying it, but technically it's a loan. But it's also a purchase and a loan at the same time. Let's not get in. Let's not split hairs, okay? Let's just make this shit too easy. Let's not overthink this shit, all right? So the bank needs a loan because at the end of the day, it can't have $100 in a checking account. So the bank needs a loan. They go to Federated Herpes and say, hey, we need some money. We've got this collateral, so we're good for the money. Federated Hermes already knows they're good for the money. So they put up these treasuries because it's a loan, but it's also a purchase. Nobody wants to start moving a bunch of shit around because it's just a hassle. So they get the money. And then maybe they just need it for overnight. It's an overnight purchase, right? And then when that's done, they give them back the money plus a little extra. It's like a very short-term loan. It's not for free. So Federated Hermes will give them $100 million, and overnight you give them $100 million back. B of A has to give back the $100 million plus give them some interest for 8 or 10 hours. Okay, so what is this? You got Federated Hermes with hundreds of millions of dollars, but instead of it just sitting there doing nothing, they're making these short-term loans to banks who have collateral. So you can't lose, right? It's not like they're just giving the bank a loan, because then they'd really have to charge them a higher interest rate, right? So that's why this is a collateralized loan. So the banks don't have to pay that much interest. They get a loan super duper cheap. It's just for probably 8 hours or something like that. And then they pay it right back, fully collateralized. So that's why they get it for like maybe 0.5% for a day or a quarter, whatever it is. It's super duper cheap. All right. That is what's going on. But now what makes this story interesting is we got the DTCC involved, and this is all on crypto rails now. Oh, that's what makes all this different. And when we talk about the DTCC, we're talking about the Canton network being involved here. Oh, nice. Let's keep reading. The fund is Federated Herpes. First product. The fund is Federated Hermes. First product designed to satisfy the requirements under the Genius Act. Oh, man, Crypto Hawk. This is a stable coin. It falls under the Genius Act, under the Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act, or the Genius Act. The Genius Act provides a regulatory framework for stable coins, a type of digital asset to be backed by high-quality liquid assets on a one-to-one basis. While the fund does not employ blockchain technology with respect to the reserve shares, fund shares are expected to be used primarily by participants in the broader blockchain ecosystem. Reserve shares of the fund may be purchased and held by individuals, stablecoin issuers, and institutional investors directly or through intermediaries, including intermediaries that use blockchain technology to maintain a record share. They're using the DTCC blockchain technology to record what is happening. And I'm almost positive they're using some kind of a stable coin to get the money. The money. And if they're not, they will be shortly. When Federated Herpes gives, let's say, Bank of America money, I'm sure it's going to, if it's not already right now, it will be a stable coin. So it'll be an instant transfer using a stable coin of some kind. What do you call them? Digital receipts or whatever they fucking calling them now. So this is all now moving on chain, as they call it. It might be partially crypto right now, but that's a baby step because eventually this whole thing's going all crypto. That's why we're seeing this here. This hasn't ever happened before. Okay. This is what I'm showing. I'm trying to show you the first. I'm trying to be the first to show you what is going on. Now we're having repo agreements with Federated Hermes under blockchain technology. This is why this is very interesting. Now, in the future, here's what they're saying. In the future, which this will happen, you watch, Crypto Hawk, the fund may seek, the fund will seek. That's what I'm telling you. This fund will seek to employ blockchain technology. Here we go, everybody. They're getting ready. They're making the baby steps. They're contacting the DTCC. They're logging this on a blockchain. Eventually, this fund may seek to employ blockchain technology to maintain a record of share ownership with respect to the reserve shares of additional share classes. This firm right now, this firm, Federated Herpes, manages almost $1 billion in money markets. That's where I come up with this. Now, what we're going to talk about next. Lastly, Federated Herpes, the CEO, his name's Paul. He says, as the industry, financial and the repo market, as the repo market continues to explore the digital space, crypto space, and tokenized money market offerings. Oh, it's coming, everybody. We continue to vet opportunities that employ the efficiency and transparency of blockchain technology. Oh, man. Oh, man. Starting to look good. Now let me check the comments and the time. Now we'll get into the deep dive. Anyone notice that Root is up 700% right meow? Yes. Me and Stevie ZBCN. I was eating my breakfast, texting Stevie ZBCN, and we were talking about that. I did a little grok search on it, and I might be doing a little show on it maybe tomorrow. Don't tell nobody. Let's just keep this a secret between us. But no, the Root Network one, look, the liquidity is so small, you could put $5 in and make the price go up 20%. I mean, it's one of those. Remember we did that shit already where you put in $20. It was what token? It might have been what we thought was the HBAR seal coin. Like you put in I put in $1,000 all at once way back a year ago with seal coin, which we thought was the seal coin HTS Quant and all that shit. I put in $1,000 at once. That was so dumb. My friend put in like I think $100 and made just as much as me. But I was brand new at buying, and that was like one of the first trades I ever kind of did. So I put in $1,000 right up. Bam. I looked at my wallet, and in my wallet, it showed like I had $5 million. And I was like, holy crap. So then I contacted my friend and said, look, I didn't know what to say at that point. I was shocked. I looked in there, it was like $5 or $10 million or something. I'm like, holy shit. And I started kind of feeling my heart pounding and starting to get a little sweaty. I'm like, did I really just make $10 million right there? No. See, there's no liquidity in that coin. Otherwise, I could have made $10 million, but there was no money in it. So that's what's going on with Root. There's no TVL. There's no total value luck. There's no money of liquidity in this coin. So it might show you make a shit ton of money. That's why the value goes up so fast. Because it's just, so anyway, if you want to play around with the Root Network, but you're not going to make any money off it. But so that's that. Now let's get into the Federated Hermes. Let's look into the deep dive here. Federated Hermes launches a digital treasury fund reserve. So that's what they have. It's a compliant, the Federated Hermes is a compliant money market vehicle positioned at the traditional finance and crypto intersection for stablecoin reserves and tokenized finance infrastructure. This is one of America's largest money market managers. It has a permitted payment stablecoin issuer under the U.S. Genius Act. So they're using crypto to get this done. This is the first time this has ever happened. And we're going to get into how they're doing this. We know DTCC is involved, so that means the Canton coin. But there's another one in here. I'm not going to get into the history of Federated. It comes from a company called, there's a company, I think it started back in 40 years ago or something. It's called Federated. And they joined a company called Hermes. And then they just combined the name Federated Hermes. Been around like 40 years or something. So they have a guy named Kevin Barr. He joined, and he is the crypto connection to this company, this guy named Kevin Barr. He's the director of digital asset product. Spent 15 years at BNY Mellon. Big shot. BAR brings direct experience in transaction banking, digital cash, and partnerships, signaling serious institutional commitment to tokenization and next generation infrastructure. Everybody, the reason this is a big article I want to talk about is because this is the first time this has happened. And I want you to see what we have. We have institutions busting moves in crypto, and we don't have clarity yet because they're not giving a fuck, because you know why? They already know what's going to happen. They don't start doing all this with treasuries, repos, crypto. They're not worried, are they? You know why? Because these people run shit. These are the movers and the shakers, and they're converting this whole financial system. We don't have crypto laws and rules yet. So the common brokey people are like, oh, crypto's bad. The prices are low. The prices are low. All the brokies have no idea what is going on. What I'm doing is I'm showing you today what cryptos are involved so far. Canton coin in this. And we're going to get into another company that's involved helping them here. But let's keep going. Archax. Spoiler alert, Archax, Ripple partner. Archax is involved in this. Spoiler alert, Archax. Not going to tell you what it is. Archax. Direct Ripple integration into this. Not saying the crypto's name. Ripple, not saying the crypto's name, but it's involved in this. I did a grok search. Spoiler alert, this could be $30 for XRP. This deal alone could be a $30 XRP. Oh, shit. But I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to tell you in the future. You're going to have to wait for all this. That's what we got lined up, $30 XRP, 2 to 3 years. I'm just saying, not a big deal. 2 to 3 years for a $30 XRP, not a big deal. Could happen faster, but that's grok. Grok's not God. Okay, let's go through here. Where am I at as far as time again? I got 32 minutes. I'm right in the middle. I'm right in the middle of the show, and that's faux show. Secondary. Let me just cherry pick this here. Shares can be purchased directly through intermediaries that use blockchain technology. The fund itself does not currently use blockchain for its reserve shares, but the prospectus and launch materials explicitly anticipate future blockchain-based share classes or record keeping. Everybody, they're integrating into this for the first time crypto, but it's in a very small area, okay? Their prospectus, their paperwork in the folder, you open it up and look through the folder and shit, it's going to have blockchain. So now let me do a copy paste for yous. Copy and paste. Here's where the Archax comes in. There you go. There's that. And another copy paste. Right there. Okay, let's read. So Grok says, this is the domestic United States counterpart to Federated Hermes. Archax Partnership, ARCHAX. Archax Partnership is involved here, which tokenized money market funds. So you've got Federated Hermes, which is not a crypto company, joined together with Archax. Now this is where all the crypto tokenization comes in. Now Archax is a massive Ripple partner. Here's the article right here. Let me just show you this proof. So this is where all the secret sauce is right here. Hermes is not a crypto company. They're a traditional finance, remember? Now here's this right here. Archax provides access to Aberdeen Money Market Fund on the XRP ledger in collaboration with Ripple. Oh, man. fund. So what do we got here? Archax is that bridge. Bank of America needs a loan. Federated Herpes got the money. They got the money. Now, they got to get that money to B of A. So now they're going to use Hermes, Federated Herpes, is going to use Archax as a bridge. Oh, because they're already working with Aberdeen, ABRDN. That's a money market fund. They're already doing this. Let's read the article just really quick. This is a almost 2-year-old article. Archax, the first financial conduct authority. So it's out of England or United Kingdom. Archax, the first, here we go again, the first financial conduct authority regulated digital asset exchange broker custodian. Has provided access to a money market fund from the United Kingdom. It's called Aberdeen. On the XRP ledger, a decentralized blockchain. The fund comprises, okay, so what we already have, the fund market on the XRP ledger, further establishing it as one of the leading blockchains, XRP, for real-world asset and tokenization. So this milestone is a result of ongoing collaboration between Archax and Ripple, the leader in enterprise blockchain crypto solutions. You see what's going on here? Ripple, the technology, is hooked up with a company called Archax, who then acts as a custodian, a blockchain broker. Everything crypto that you need is Archax. Now, Archax is working with money market funds to shoot banks money, and the banks shoot it back. Shoot banks the money, the bank shoots it back, okay? And if they're moving these repos, then the banks could literally take 100,000 shares of a security, shoot it on a blockchain to the Archax to hold it as a custodian for 8 hours and then shoot it. B of A shoots the money. See how all this is working? So Archax is the go-between in the middle. So you got B of A here, Federated Herpes over there, and right in the middle is Archax. They've got the road connecting it. B of A shoots the money through Archax system, which is the XRP ledger. And they send these treasuries, and they hold them. Archax holds it. Federated Herpes sends the money and then ships it over to B of A. All this can be done in 2 to 5 seconds. Atomic settlement. Bam. Then the next morning, B of A opens up, sends that $100 million back, plus a little interest. Archax is the custodian. Then they send it back to Federated Herpes. And then the treasuries go immediately back to Bank of America again and get locked up. So it's kind of like that. I'm not an expert in how all this is done, but it's something kind of like that. We're getting our little financial lesson today, aren't we? Let me go back and so we're scrolling through. So now we know that Archax is involved with this. And Archax is a massive Ripple partner. Now, if you're interested and you want to buy into this mutual fund, here it is right here. It's on the NASDAQ. It's up to you if you want to buy it. I'm not telling anybody. If you want to buy that mutual fund, it's right there. Looks like the NASDAQ ticker is capital OFFXX. So this platform that they're using is explicitly built for use by stablecoin issuers and participants in the broader blockchain ecosystem. It says in the future, the firm may seek to employ blockchain technology to maintain a record of share of ownership. Of course, they're going to use blockchain. They're just testing it right now. You know how that works. Once you start fucking around with it, you're not going to want to stop. Kind of like drugs. That's why I never take. I always take them. The Archac partnership in 2025 already delivers tokenized versions of federated herpes at money market funds to professional investors across multiple. Okay, so Archac is already doing this. Let me repeat this again. Let me show you. Let me do a copy paste. This is already being done in crypto, okay? Got a late fee, AJ Singh. Okay, you know what? That'll work. This time, I'll accept it. Thank you very much. Appreciate that there, buddy. Archac's partnership with Hermes in 2025, last year, they're already doing this, everybody, already delivers tokenized versions of federated Hermes money market fund. So you get a money market fund, you turn it into tokens, there you go. And Archac will deliver those tokens to the lucky winners, okay? So they got this money market fund, and you're getting tokens from that fund, of that fund. So we're already seeing crypto being used with federated herpes, Archac, and stuff. It's already being done. It's just not fully crypto, okay? But they're using it now. Everything just starts with, it just needs this much to start, just that much. It's like if you have a dam and the dam starts to crack, it just starts with a little crack in the dam, and then before you know it, the whole thing busts open, and we're filthy rich, disgustingly rich. Now, this launch of Federated Hermes, their digital platform, this launch is similar, according to Grok, to BlackRock, Fidelity, Goldman Sachs, State Street, stuff like that. Other companies are already doing something kind of similar, okay? What is that? Incorporating blockchain. The reason you're not rich, because this thing isn't going full bore. It's called, they're launching it. You know what launch is? It means it just started. That's why we're not rich right now, okay? What I'm showing you is very, very early in. We are talking about this shit, and it hasn't even fully launched. Companies aren't even, see, you're here early. That's why tomorrow you're not rich. Next week, not next month. Probably next year, we hope. But see, you're early. You need to understand all this. That's why I'm breaking this down. Like I would try to maybe teach a 5th grade class or something, or 9th graders, this kind of stuff. What we're learning here on Crypto Hulk Show today is how the financial system works in a nutshell with repos and what companies are involved, what are they doing, and what cryptos are they using. So just because you buy it doesn't mean 3 hours from now you're rich. Maybe it takes 3 years. I don't know. I'm not concerned. My job is to learn about what are these rich companies doing. Then I position myself, and then I wait for them to get rich, because they get rich first, and then I get rich. See how this works? When you understand what I'm saying, because a lot of you guys are like, man, Crypto Hulk, I just can't take it anymore. Dude, you're not supposed to be an investor because you don't understand what the fuck's going on. You have no idea about repo shit, nothing. You just want to put some kind of money into something and have a big bunch pop out. You don't want to have to use your brain. You don't want to have to concentrate, and that's why you're a brokey, okay? When you start understanding what I'm talking about here, you'll have a more mature mindset and be able to understand this and invest better. Now, the last part of the show, 15 minutes. Let's read the summary, and then we'll get into the price prediction stuff. We got to do the homework first. We got to do the grunt work and try to use our fucking brains and figure out what's going on in the repo market. Basically, how does it work? What are some of the companies involved? What technologies are they using? And what cryptos do they have? And then how much of those cryptos going to be worth? Okay. So it's not just, I'll just leave it at that. Let's go over the summary here, and then we'll start in on the price prediction, the least important of the whole show. Summary assessment. Federated Herpes Digital Treasury Fund Reserve. That's what we're talking about. And you can buy it on a stock market, NASDAQ. It's OFFXX. This right here will be a first mover advantage. So if you're somebody that wants to invest in a money market fund, this one would probably be your choice because we got first mover advantage here, okay? This is a high conviction, low risk strategic move that positions a legacy money market. That means old school. This is old school, and they are going to come out like a lion, okay? This is a critical infrastructure for the regulated U.S. stablecoin economy. By this money market fund, this brand new fund, delivers Genius Act eligible reserves with explicit blockchain ecosystem compatibility. They have proven tokenization because they're using Archax. So they're tokenizing this money market fund, okay? The firm Archax here bridges 50 years of TradeFi liquidity. So that's right. In 1974, that's when this company Federated started. Then later they joined a company called Hermes out of United Kingdom. So it's been around 50 years. It's called traditional finance. But now they hooked up with Archax, a United Kingdom company. That's a Ripple partner. That's now this bridge, how they're moving the money and the tokens back and forth, okay? You need an interoperable blockchain. That's why Ripple's chosen here, okay? Because you're able to move the tokens and the money, and all the different companies and stuff that are going to be involved. Oh, it's going to be, oh man, it's going to be huge. Be Donald Trump huge, UGE. This is exactly the type of professional grade bridge the market needs as the Genius Act implementation advances tokenized cash, collateral, and use cases in a security. So this is all Genius Act stuff. Genius Act was passed last year. Now they did this with crypto and securities because the Genius Act allows them to do this, okay? Now, I asked Grok, wild speculation time. I said, Grok, Archax is a Ripple partner. They talk of now, the reason I'm reading this off is because what you ask Grok and how you ask it determines the results you get. So I want you to know clearly, what question am I asking Grok? How am I asking Grok to come up with this? Then when you get the answer, because somebody could just read off a Grok prediction, but what question did you ask Grok? How did you ask it? That determines your answer. So I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to read off the question that I asked Grok, and then you'll understand the answer that we get. So, wild speculation time. I said, Archax is a Ripple partner, I tell Grok. They talk of a stable coin here. I bet they utilize Ripple's stable coin. Because remember, they're moving money around, stable coins. What would this do for the price of XRP if the XRP ledger is eventually used here? Oh, it is, along with Ripple technology and token. I tell Grok 2 to 3 years from now, with crypto clear laws and full use case, let's have a low, medium, and a high price for XRP. So that's the question I gave to Grok. Let me look here. It talks about Archax. Archax is a regulated digital asset exchange. It's a broker and a custodian. Archax has deep multi-year partnership with Ripple, focused on bringing tokenized real-world assets, including money market funds, and they're going to put it on the XRP ledger. That's why the price of their XRP goes up. Crypto Hulk, what makes a crypto? You're brand new to crypto. You asked me, Crypto Hulk, what gives value to a crypto? First thing I'd say is use case. What is it doing? What is this crypto doing? Number one. Number two, it's got it. Whatever you're doing, you've got to tokenize that platform. In this case, we're going to put money markets into crypto form and put them on the blockchain. That's going to cause the price of XRP to eventually hit $30 because of this right here. Let's get into this a little. Federated in 2024, Ripple and Archax collaborate together to tokenize hundreds of millions in real-world assets on the XRP ledger. November 2024, first tokenized money market fund launched on the XRP ledger. It was a company called Aberdeen, which we talked about. The Aberdeen US Dollar Liquidity Fund, with Ripple allocating $5 million into the tokenized tokens. Ripple puts in $5 million here, everybody. October 2025, 8 months ago, Federated Hermes partnered with Archax 8 months ago to offer tokenized versions of its money market fund on multiple chains, explicitly including the XRP ledger. They launch what we just read, the Federated Hermes Digital Treasury Fund Reserve Shares. That's a fund. It's the OFFXX. It's on the NASDAQ. So they launched this Digital Treasury Fund. It launched this week as the first, this is the first one ever happened, the first Genius Act compliant reserve vehicle for United States stablecoin issuers. It is current now. Right now, this fund is currently a Rule 2A-7 money market fund. It's a U.S. Treasury and overnight repo. Ripple's, here we go. The Ripple stablecoin, Ripple's RLUSD is already being integrated with tokenized treasuries like BlackRock, Biddle, Van Eck with Securitize, Ondo and JP Morgan, Connexus and MasterCard, plus Ripple demonstrated near instant. Okay. The bridge here. Let me scroll down. Okay, speculation time. Now, the low price, on the low end, Grok is saying $4.50. $4.50 comes from regulatory clarity arrives, but XRP ledger adoption reserve flows remains modest. Most institutional volume stays on the Ethereum Layer 2 and Solana and permission networks like Canton. XRP sees steady growth from the Ripple stablecoin, but limited new demand. Now, medium case, $12. How do we get a $12 XRP with this? We're talking just this fund alone, not the whole crypto space, but just this fund alone. So in $12 case, the XRP ledger becomes one of the top public ledgers for regulated tokenized money market funds. Federated Hermes style products, see tokenized versions. Ripple Labs stablecoin grows into a major on and off ramp where the automated market makers, XRP serves as a key bridge pair. Now, full $30, $30. How do we get to a $30 with this? XRP ledger emerges as a, not the, but a leading rail. It could be the leading rail. Grok's just, Grok's conservative too. XRP ledger emerges as a leading rail, not the rail. So it could be 40, 50, 60, 100, but let's just go with Grok. XRP is going to be a leading rail for stablecoin and tokenized reserve. This tokenized OFFXS shares are issued, held, and settled on the XRP ledger. Now, the Ripple Labs stablecoin becomes the primary stablecoin for minting and receipt. I bet you it is. I'll bet you $1 million it is. Liquidity against these. So XRP becomes the de facto liquidity and bridge asset for institutional flows. I believe that. Use money market. Massive traditional finance capital like pensions, banks, and managers flows on chain, creating persistent buy pressure for the XRP ledger. Ripple's enterprise relationship with their digital dollar integrations compound the effect. In a broad real-world asset tokenization super cycle with clear laws, XRP accrues meaningful value as the institutional settlement and liquidity layer. So that's how it will hit $30 when it needs to get there. In a 2 to 3 year, that's what I said, in about 2 to 3 years, with clear laws and real institutional adoption, XRP ledger speed, existing tokenized money market fund precedent, and Ripple's enterprise focus give it plausible. Here's what Grok is saying. Give it a plausible shot at capturing meaningful flows. XRP would benefit most if it becomes a material liquidity and bridge layer rather than pure gas token. Grok says the setup is fundamentally more institutional and business to business than retail hype, which allows with how these rails are currently being built. So Grok's already saying, that's the end of the deep dive. That's the end of the show. Grok's saying, and this is plausible, the XRP ledger, it just needs real world use case. And that's what they're showing here. This is the first time Federated Hermes is doing this. And they're running on Archax, which is Ripple. And more of these companies, they're going to try this platform and that. I'm just telling you what, all roads lead right back to Ripple, okay? So another company might go on a different blockchain. That's great. But guess what? It's going right on top of the XRP ledger after that. Because they're going to realize that other blockchain, it can't do shit compared to the XRP ledger. So they're going to build it on whatever they want, Canton, whatever, and all that shit's great, but that's all going to go on top of the XRP ledger, making the XRP token super duper expensive. Okay. Let's check really quick here. The abbreviation for the stock, OFFXX. I got it right there. It's like 6 inches above you. Quantum Irv says, special. You educate us very well, especially with breaking it down to simple English. Thank you, sir. So there you have it. We're seeing the beginning. We're at the very beginning, everybody. We've only just begun to live. That's all the Carpenters I'm going to sing. What I'm showing you is the very beginning of how these money market funds are all going to go on chain. They are eventually all going to go. Nobody wants to be first. They're terrified to go first, unless you got a lot of money, like a BlackRock or something. But then if you're a BlackRock, you can pay somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing to do the shit right. Nobody wants to go first, but nobody wants to be last. So what we got going on here is we can't have people fail. So what happens is Ripple comes in, works with Archax to get it done right, to make sure it's interoperable. They're doing it right with Ripple's technology, and then everybody else is going to copycat. And then everybody else is going to load their tokens on the XRP ledger and all their platforms. That's how we're going to get rich here. Not from you and me buying or some pump or Ripple gets the news. Oh, Ripple joins a partnership here. The price goes up 5 or 10% and then dumps. That's all that is. See, what I'm trying to show you here is I'm educating you on how all this is being done. So as an investor, you're intelligent. You're an informed investor. We spent 1 hour discussing how the beginning of the tokenization of money markets on planet Earth began. And you saw it here first on the Crypto Hulk show. We're breaking down very simply how the money market funds work, how repo markets work, very briefly. I'm not trying to give a dissertation here on the inner workings of the financial system. I don't give a fuck, man. I just need to know basically what is going on so that I can make an intelligent investment. That's all I'm trying to do here. And what I'm trying to do here is get the fuck off the show. I don't think I'm doing a PM tonight. I've got to do this thing today, and it's going to take me 6, 7, 8 hours. I don't know if I'm not going to be able to do a PM show. I can probably start working on a morning show tonight. I got this thing I got to do, man, and it's just going to take, I'll probably be done with it like at 4 p.m. Pacific or something, or maybe 5 p.m. I'm not going to have time to study it all today. I got to do this damn thing. But anyhow, I'll catch you in the next live stream. Pretty much could be tomorrow morning.